Good morning from a very bright, very sunny, very peaceful, might be rain later, Peterborough. I'd just like to say a big thank you to the new subscribers, and although I start these videos with good morning, I know that there's a lot of people around the world who don't use English as their first language. So in an attempt to reach that audience, I'm going to try something different. So correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm going to try good morning in a few different languages. Maybe how are you, if you feel that confident. So namaste, suprabhat, magandang umaga, kamusta ka, boroda, dzień dobry, jak się masz, dobry den, bună dimineața, ce mai faci, guten Morgen, wie geht es Ihnen, bon matin, ça va, buongiorno, ¿cómo stai, buenos días, ¿cómo estás, bom dia, ¿cómo está voce, ahoy, ako sa masz. I think that just about covers it. One little extra for Law Magro. I think you ought to change your channel from Law Magro, it might be Laura, to the French Connection. I think that might work. Sounds pretty good. A little extra, me and Kat are going on holiday to Northumberland, a place called Lucca. June sometime, but yeah, looking forward to that. So if anybody lives in Northumberland, anywhere near Lucca, and we do get a few hours spare, might try and get a pond visit in. Since this video has just been like little bits of additions all joined together, I had a phone call, I'll not say from who, to say that this person going to come next week, so there'll be a big improvement and a big change to what looks like the nuclear reactor at Chernobyl. So I won't say any more, I don't want to tempt fate, but I'm quite looking forward to that. We'll see how it goes. Got a little story for you, a bit of an ambulance story. It's not a story of like saving lives and stuff like that, but Kat has mentioned it on a few occasions. You ought to tell that story. So I know this is a koi channel, but I'm going to tell you a story. So many years ago, we were sat inside our ambulance, and we have a computer screen that sits in between the passenger and the driver, in between the crew, and this is called a CAD system, a computer aided dispatcher. And what that does, it gives written information about the job that we're going to, and then we can switch between that and a sat-nav. And the job that we were going to was car in a ditch, top side of Peterborough, and one person reported as being in the vehicle. And what you get generally with a CAD system is, as you're travelling to the job, information is updated so you have a better idea of what's going on. So when we got there, there is certainly a car in a ditch, and normally around Peterborough, if you go in a ditch, you're going to get wet. This is a very low-lying area of the world. All the ditches are generally full. Quite lucky for us, this was just a little bit of water and a bit muddy, or a lot muddy. Police arrived and fire service arrived to offer support. Because I'm not the biggest bloke in the world, I got nominated to get inside the car. So I got inside what was left of this car to find a young lady with a lower leg injury. Not as straight as it used to be before she set off, and certainly looked like a 50p piece after the crash. So I dealt with the leg, put it in a box splint, or what we call a box splint, to give it some support, and then with the assistance of I think one fire service person, fire officer, firefighter, my apologies. So with the assistance of a firefighter, my paramedic mate, we had to try to lift this young lady through the remains of the car and through a window. So every time we moved this lady, we had to be careful about how we mobilised her leg, and also the fact that I had to keep pushing against various parts of the car to get her out. So basically bracing myself, lift, brace, lift, until we could get her out. Now, from my position, I could see part way through the windscreen, and I could see the upper part of the road, and there must have been 10 to 12 firefighters all stood on the road, all waiting for their chance to get involved and play a part. And unbeknown to me, I was just stamping on what remained of the car to get this young lady out, and I hit the radio with my boot. The volume went up to about 500, and Beyonce, Crazy in Love, was belting out as loud as you could imagine. And I tried to keep it together, tried to keep it professional. My colleague tried to keep it professional. So I looked away from my colleague to try and compose myself, and looked at the firefighters up on the road, and every single one of them was throwing some shapes on the dance floor to Beyonce, Crazy in Love. I was in bits. Anyway, we got this lady out, got her to hospital, and as far as I know, touch wood, she's absolutely fine. Here endeth the funny story. Thank you for listening. Good afternoon from a dry but very windy Peterborough, and as you'd expect, as soon as you want to put tarpaulin on a roof, the wind turns up. Speaking of wind, not me, the hot air balloon, which should have gone up today, went on Friday, and Friday's flight meant there was no space for me, so I didn't go up in a hot air balloon. Never mind. So here we are, mission control, totally sealed, and I've done such a good job of sealing it. I haven't left the door to get in and out, so I'm having to crawl underneath here and climb through, a bit like a crocodile. So what I've done today is I've scrubbed it and jet washed it, and I've done a bit of sanding down as per instructions of Matt Williams, just to chalk off another little job. And I've put the Proplex, just prop that up there, so hopefully, or definitely, will be watertight. We shall see. As far as I'm aware, the pipework is finished. Let's have a look. I'll follow you. I have to get under there. Excuse the water, but I had to put a hose pipe down here because there was so much dust. So there we go, finished. I'll just start outside. So as you can see, we've got the pipe, which will be insulated. Comes through the wall to a valve, and then the extra bit, this valve runs to a small water feature along this wall. It hasn't arrived yet, but it's going to go here somewhere, so I've just left an extra piece of pipe in there. I put my rodding point in, but I didn't have the correct length of pipe, so I've had to put a socket in instead of buying another piece. It's absolutely dripping with water. I've sprayed everything, it's just gone mad with it. And then hopefully all these valves are all nice and neat. I've just got to drill and fix the saddles, which seems like a waste of time clearing all the dust away when I've still got to drill and create more dust, but hey ho, that's the way it is. I've put the 25mm pipe on there. I've just basically put the elbow on first because it did rattle fractionally, but with the solvent weld it's absolutely solid. So I continued with some 25mm elbow and the reinforced air pipe for there and for here, which will run round to both of these. Should be delivered next week. Just got this hole to fill, and I think I might use Waterfall foam, so if there's any rattling with the wind it's not going to disturb this fitting. And then I've got to mix some mortar just for in there and for in there, and then that's another job done and dusted. So that's that little segment done. I'm going to do this video over 2 or 3 days because there's lots to do in between time. So shall we call that part 1? Or we'll just call it the first bit. Catch you later. Good afternoon from a sunny Peterborough. I'm going to clean the PFC 3000. So this is just an update on fitting it, running it, and now cleaning it to see how effective it is. First of all, thank you to Righty for my mug. Tastes great, this tea. And in true Righty fashion, I've got my slippers on. Cat's away for the night, she's up on some kind of photographic workshop. So I'm wearing my slippers, drinking tea. If you found out, oh! Right, let's clean this filter. This has been running really well. So I'm just going to turn this off. There we go. So I'll see if I can actually get this out without throwing it all over my slippers. So just to prove a point, I said that it would fit in a B&Q bucket. There we have it. What I'm going to do is, I don't know if I can actually do this successfully with one hand, but we'll see. I want to try and spin that into there. So we're going to change from filter to clean. You know, you're supposed to run the pump, but I'm just going to give that a couple of turns. Then I'm going to put the pump back on, and I'm going to turn and see what we get out. You can turn it anti-clockwise or clockwise, and as you can see, that's pretty mucky. So when that bucket gets full, that's going to go on the garden and see what else I get. So just give me a second, I'll empty that bucket and I'll get back to you. Right, this is the state of the fine filter sponges, and they have done a remarkable job, to be honest. That's not too bad at all. So I'm going to give them a clean. I've just got to find out how to take them off. I can't see it being that hard. I might need to loosen this screw. I'm not sure at the moment, but I'll do that. And I'll certainly give it a couple more turns. That was just basically emptying that. So 1.5 bucketfuls up to now, but I'll give it a good old turning and see if I can clean a bit more out. The clarity of the water, despite the fact that this is quite a tiny filter, is a lot better than what it was. As you can see, there's an awful lot of muck underneath where that orange basket was, and I'm using that orange basket just basically to keep the entire filter above water level. And looks like one of these bags has burst and all the micro K1 has come out. Just wonderful. Oh, never mind, I'll gather all that up with a net. So yeah, I'm going to give this a bit of a sweep. I'm going to leave the filter running for 24 hours and then tomorrow probably a water change. The fish are feeding well and they're looking in pristine condition. And I've taken the lid off and just basically put a net over, and thankfully we've had no interest from herons. So far so good. It's really small, PFC 3000 by all Pond Solutions. It's quite small. I didn't think it were going to be any good, but it's actually it's quite good for what it is. I think I paid about 74 quid. You can probably get it cheaper, it's probably more expensive cheaper, but yeah, works. I've decided to use some Waterfall foam, and that's worked really well. So I've used it on the skimmer, and I'll give that 24 hours, and then I will cut that with a hacksaw blade, make that neat. One of the other little bitty jobs is I bought some reinforced hose, which I'll clip up out of the way to keep that cover secure, and connected this end. So this is the air dome for the bottom drain, and this is the air dome for the biological filter, so that's good to go. I'm just trying to finish off all these bitty jobs that are just hanging around. So I've also done another job for Matt Williams in preparation for his arrival. Fingers crossed next week, but we've got weather to consider, and we've got materials availability to consider. But we'll go inside what we've called the Chernobyl nuclear bunker, and I'll show you what I've done in there. So here we are inside the nuclear bunker, all bone dry, all secure, and Matt asked me to basically scuff the surface of the original flow coat just to mark it. So he sent me a video just to demonstrate this movement, nice and gentle, and what he needs is a key so the new top cover, the next coat, will stick. So that's all these walls done, so I'm quite pleased with that. I've also taken all the water barrels out, and I'm just about drying there, and there's some bits and pieces. I'm just going to try and dig them out and make them neat and tidy. But that's working really well. I got rid of the water buckets and the water barrels because I needed to sand in here and scuff up the surface, and I wish I'd have actually videoed myself because I picked up the plastic handles of one of the buckets and both handles shattered all over my boots and down my trousers. Unsuccessful that was. Anyway, I'll leave it there for this portion. In fact, I might leave it there for this video. I think I've spoken enough. I hope you have enjoyed it. It's been a little bit bitty as ever. If anybody out there has missed their good morning, or I should have pronounced it correctly, if you can send that back to me, that'd be wonderful. In the meantime, myself and Kat, thank you for subscribing, and hopefully next week things will be developing quite fast. Stay safe, get your jab, look after your family. Bye.